Big game hunter. I coach people and organizations to be more effective in their job search, in their careers, while they're in transition, when they come on board. I help people with their leadership and presenting themselves well and effectively in their search and in their subsequent organizations. I want to talk to those of you who are senior professionals, unemployed executives, individuals in the C suite, talking with you about your search. Because if you're watching this video, you're probably out looking for work. You've been out for a while and you're probably a little bit nervous. You've exhausted some of your relationships, so you think, and you're looking for some advice. So the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is recognize that your search generally will go on for 9 to 12 months on average. That means some of you, it's going to go on longer than a year, some of you less than that 9-month period. If you're in that over a year category, there's a certain amount of anxiety that you're feeling, like your career is disappearing on you. And it's certainly possible that that will happen. But let's look at a couple of things that you need to do, whether you're relatively new and looking for work or you've been out for a longer period of time. And number one is capital conservation. If you've been out for a year, you're seeing the money go out the door and less is coming in. So what can you do to conserve capital? What can you spend less on? If you've got a family, is there some way that you can work with the kids' school, with some of your vendors, where they can buy a little time with you, particularly if you have a mortgage with them? So see if you can just do interest payments on your mortgage for a period of time. Do things to hold on cash. Another thing I want you to do is regular reviews of how the search is going. Now, this is a painful process for all of you because you've been in control for the longest time, and now you have to take, frankly, a hatchet to some of your actions. So what's going well in your search? I'm looking at some notes on my phone. What's going well? What do you want to try differently that you're not doing up until this point, even though it's harder? Are you getting responses to resumes that you're forwarding to search firms or to organizations? Are you getting first interviews but not invited back in? Are you making it to the final but not getting offers? Where are you in processes and where is it breaking down? As I've said for the longest time, if you're not getting interviews at all, either you're applying for the wrong roles, your resume isn't congruent with the job description, or your LinkedIn profile undermines what your resume is saying. So you've got to tighten that gap between the resume and the LinkedIn profile and or apply for the correct jobs. If you're getting to the first interview but not invited back in, you're talking to the screener, you're not demonstrating a fit for the role. If you're getting to the final round, well, there are a couple of variables here, but the biggest one most likely is the person who's interviewing you doesn't walk out with a warm fuzzy. They don't feel like they can trust you. Or, of course, there's someone who has comparable skills who's willing to work for less. That's certainly a possibility. But normally it's the first one. You're not making connection with the final interviewer. Excuse me. Another thing you ought to do is start tightening your documents, tightening your resume and your LinkedIn profile to emphasize certain key points about your background. I know the temptation is to go broad, but all that does is dilute your messaging, with the result winding up being that it's just going to take you longer. If they're looking for a jack of all trades, that's one thing, but normally at your level, there's an expertise that's being sought, and you have to really hammer it home. Another thing you want to keep doing is being in touch with your network, but also expanding your network. Is there a consulting assignment that you can get? Is there volunteer work that you can do for an organization that puts you into the middle of certain areas that make sense for you? So, for example, if you're an IT worker and you're involved with a trade group that relates to your area of expertise, like a local PMI chapter, that certainly makes sense for you. I want to remind you that it's very natural in feeling disappointed to start feeling depressed and to pull in. And the result winds up being that you're not out there really connecting with people and telling them what you can really do to help them. So again, encouragement, brag. Talk about some of your successes. Tell some stories along the way as you're talking to people at your contract assignment or at the volunteer gig, so that in this way they have a sense of what you've done in the past and you've got a smile on your face. Which brings me to the next point. Never, ever let people see you worried. Never let them see you concerned. When I started my first business, what seems like 100 years ago, my partner and I were doing terribly. We were close. I used to work in recruiting before I got into career coaching and leadership coaching. And I remember in our first year, we, going into the end of the first year, had sold less than $20,000 in business. Now, fees were a lot smaller, but $20,000 split between two people, even at that time, was not a living wage. So I remember clients would say, "So, how's it going?" And I told them the truth. One day my brother told me, "Always tell them it's going great." And as soon as I switched gears, and when people ask me, "How's it going?" I said, "It's like we turned on a dime. We've closed a bunch of business, and suddenly we start to get more jobs to work on, more opportunities, and it just helped us turn a corner, all because I started to position us as being successful and effective and not struggling." You know that you have to practice for your interview, so I'm not going to go down that road. I'll just simply say sometimes people put too tight a series of constraints on their search, and they don't open themselves up to other possibilities. It's been a while. You're still not working. Open yourself up a little bit and explore other options. Getting into action, getting into motion is going to help you a lot. It will help you perform better and will help you be more successful. It will get you out and about talking to more people. You'll feel better about yourself and it will help with your performance in other interviews. So keep plugging. Do critical thinking and critical review at every point along the way. I'm not saying every week, but once a month, sit down with yourself and be honest and see where things are going and how it's going. Hope you found this helpful. If you're interested in my coaching you in your search, reach out to me through LinkedIn to connect at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Mention that you saw the video because I just like knowing I'm helping some folks. Once we're connected, we'll set up a time for a free discovery call. I do not work for free. I'm going to charge you for the work, of course, and I expect I'll be able to help you. If you just have a couple of questions, reach out to me either through prestoexperts.com or through Magnify. That's MAGNIFI. That's an iOS only app. We'll have a video chat that way, a phone conversation through Presto Experts. Hope you have a great day and take care.